Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So I am doing videos and I figured I'd do a live one before I end this series of events. I am seeing myself moving and shaking to the left. So let's do a video. So Thom Hartman, I was told, I think it was Luca Clemente, he gave me a heads up about a video by Thom Hartman. In one of my other live chats, I made this point of saying I actually like Thom Hartman. Now, I said I like Thom Hartman because I actually do like Thom Hartman. Thom Hartman is one of the most knowledgeable guys you can come across. I may disagree with his perspectives, but as a person and as a guy who does this, I actually like him. He has this placid way of going about his business that is calming and relaxing. And yet he's putting in, but giving you a lot of information, like this historical information that that is rare and interesting to bring up in conversation. That's why I used to like him. Before I started doing this, I like years before I started doing this, I used to love his show because his show would bring up this, you know, this is what took place when they were signing the Constitution. This was took place around that time. This what took place in the 50s. This what took place in the labor plots. Now, if you know all that and you know, still say work your way around to, but I think you should vote for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, at that point you lost me. At that point you lost me. But from historical context, yeah. And this placid way of having conversations, yes. Now, all of this came about because I made a note saying, well, I've never really seen Thom Hartman go after anybody. He had Brunch with Bernie's that he used to have on every, I think, Friday. And during the election, he started playing this game of, well, I don't want to attack anybody because, no, I want you to attack. I want you to take a side. Take a side. Eventually, he said, I'm with, you know, he was with Sanders, and then later on, I'm with Hillary. I'm with Hillary. Luca Clemente made the point that that placid guy that you said that doesn't necessarily attack people and for the most part give people their say, attacked somebody having a conversation about third-party voters or voting third-party. And Luca, I think he sent me the video, and I'm going to watch that video. Now, I used to do a segment, I haven't done it in a while, where I would watch a video and give my commentary. Like, not seeing the video. Like, first time looking at the video, he's putting up an argument, I'm giving my 2 cents. And so I'm going to do that with this video. I'm slightly scared because Thom Hartman is immensely bright and he is not the guy who I would prefer to jump on. But let's see it. Let's see Thom Hartman make this argument and make this case, and as Luca says, jumps on a third-party voter. And it's not really the third-party voter, it's the what is it called, the thought of voting for third-party voter. This took place, I think it was like August 2016. So let's take a look. Let's see. Let's kill the mic.
Cora in Taos, New Mexico. Hey, Cora, thanks for listening to KVOT. What's on your mind today?
Well, I love you, Tom, but, you know, for some of us, all we have left now is our voice. And so some of us are going to vote for Jill Stein, because we've been out in the streets, we've been calling and writing our Congress and Senate, and they're not paying attention.
So you're going to vote for Jill Stein even though her top 5 donors are from corporations like AON, Zoom, Global Money Transfer, IBM, ThoughtWorks, and UPS?
You know, Tom, I've talked to local people here that are part of...
Whoa. You're going to vote for Jill Stein because even though her top 5 donors. Now, I didn't hear the prior conversation, so I don't know if something else took place in this interview that gives more context to that. But your candidate got $1 billion. This comes across to me like Mitch McConnell saying, well, Obamacare doesn't even cover everybody. You're a fucking Republican. You don't give a shit about Obamacare covering anybody. You don't even want Obamacare to exist, let alone cover other people for health care. You're okay with people dying in the streets without health care. That Mitch McConnell made the argument of, well, I mean, it doesn't even cover everybody. It doesn't even cover everybody. That's what this sounds like. I mean, you're gonna vote for Jill Stein even though her top donors are blah 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 blah. Thom, let's keep going. I'm not gonna pick a bitch on this. Thom, I'm pretty sure there had to be something else earlier in the show that kind of made this up. This woman said nothing about Hillary Clinton's donors. This is nothing. Yes, it has something to do with donors, but that's not something what the woman brought up. That woman said, we feel like we've lost our voice. And Thom Hartman completely ignores what the woman said and said, you're going to vote for them. You're assuming that her issue is Hillary Clinton's donors. You're assuming that the issue is Hillary Clinton's donors. I would wager that that woman's issue is Hillary Clinton's policies. Let's keep going. But yeah, Thom, that's a dick move. That's not a good argument. Let's keep going.
The hierarchy in the party, they're the local county members, and they say, oh, you know, there is corruption everywhere. So, in other words,
so you're going to vote for Jill Stein, who has absolutely no experience in politics other than being on the town council in lily white, upper middle class Lexington, Massachusetts, for one term?
Is Thom Hartman being racist? Lily white, upper. What does that have to do with the price of tea? This is everything wrong with the Democratic Party. Honestly, this is everything wrong with the Democratic Party. Like, this woman says, we feel like we've lost our voice. We don't have a voice in this. And she's right. Thom Hartman has historical context of knowledge to know that that woman is absolutely, completely, factually right. And in responding to a woman who said, we lost our voice, when she's talking to this Democratic functionary, Thom Hartman, we've lost our voice, his answer is to completely ignore her. That's great, Thom. That's great. I've said before that I think Thom Hartman is just a Democrat. He's a Democratic functionary. I think if Bernie Sanders put forth proposals, Thom Hartman would be on board. I think if Hillary Clinton put forth proposals, Thom Hartman would be on board. He's just a Democrat. He's a functionary. He's a blank slate in this regard. It's just the software that you put into him and he runs. In this case, the software is Hillary Clinton. I need to defend Hillary Clinton. I need to protect Hillary Clinton. Third party voters hurts Hillary Clinton. What can I say? The top 5 donors are Jill Stein. The top 5 donors are Jill Stein. I mean, you're still going to vote for her? I mean, hey, she's in a lily white area. You're okay with that? She's in a lily white area. Because her being white, to some degree, has something to do with what she would do in that office. That is a dick move, Thom. You're better than this, man. You're better than this. I mean, Bernie Sanders is also white. You supported Bernie Sanders. And the argument that they were using against Sanders was this is the white candidate, the candidate of the whites. Your party has an issue with race, man. I'm sorry, it does. The Republican Party may have racists that are the bitter enders of that particular party. Fair enough. But your issue is kind of the opposite of this. You guys hug identity to such a degree that you completely ignore all the other factors. In fact, the main factors. Can somebody tell Hartman that like 70% of this country is lily white? Blacks make up 13% of this country. I think Hispanics make up a little bit more. Whites make up the overwhelming majority of this country. You're having this conversation with this woman and you're trying to alienate Jill Stein based purely because she's part of the 70% of whites. What the fuck? What the fuck? Wow, I did not know Thom Hartman was going here. I did not know Thom Hartman was doing this. Look, there's just something depraved about attacking somebody because of their race. Even if that race is being white. I don't understand this. Jill Stein is lily white. What does that have to do with what she would do in that office? I don't understand what that has to do with what she would have to do in that office. She gave you her policies for the Green Party. She explained, this is what I would like to accomplish as a Green Party candidate. If you put me in this office, this is what I want to accomplish. What does that have to do with her being lily white, as Thom Hartman put it? I fundamentally missed that. I don't understand that. I don't know what one has to do with the other, Thom. I don't know what one has to do with the other. And also, I don't like this thing of you laughing at the woman who just told you, I feel like I'm losing my voice. Look, this woman is factually correct. At one point, you could make a case that said the Democratic Party were New Dealers. We believe that the society should be arranged a particular way. We believe that people should not have to suffer and struggle in our society. Yes, you're always going to have conflict. You're going to have certain things that people want to achieve, and you have other things that people, these things are in conflict. Your society is always in this kind of conflict and flux. But as people pursue their ends, going from the cradle to the grave, they're not going to be beat on their heads by people in the society, and while they're knocked out, pull money out of their back pocket. We're better than that. There's a floor to what we would allow people in our society. Those were New Dealers. Those people were extraordinarily strong in regards to representing that interest in the Democratic Party. We're talking about labor. We're talking about the poor. We're talking about the workers. We're talking about the majority of this country, the vulnerables. You get to a point where you have the Bill Clintons, the Clinton era, if you want to call it. Bill Clinton chafed when Obama said that he wasn't that much of an influential president, at the very least not as much as Reagan. He was influential if you're talking specifically to the party itself, though. That was the operating, that was the software that party ran on. And it hated New Dealers with a passion, meaning Bernie Sanders reminds it of what it's not. And they hate that. They chafe at it. It's the reason why the Peter fucking Dows of the world are angry when any good news comes out about Bernie Sanders. The reason I say this is that the moment that Democrats decided that the New Deal policies were over, that ultimately labor, the poor, everyone else, they would have to fall in line, not because they love what Democrats are, not because they're given a vision and a hope for what this country could be, not because they're going to push this country forward to any level of progress, but purely because they're not Republicans. Republicans are batshit crazy. The crazier Republicans got, the better the case for the Democrats, even though they got worse as well. You have nowhere else to go. That's the mantra. You have nowhere else to go. They're batshit crazy. We'll be apathetic towards you. You have nowhere else to go. Now, the catch with this is, the moment that they did this, that woman was right. She lost her voice. If the Democratic Party was supposed to represent workers and the poor and the 99, let's say 95%, if that was supposed to be the Democratic Party, and they decided that we're now a big tent and we're going to now take massive amounts of cash and we're going to move this party to the right, then yes, that woman's voice went away. It was irrelevant to them at that point. You have nowhere else to go. At best, we are apathetic towards you. You better love it when we give you incremental stuff. But ultimately, you have nowhere else to go. Yes, we're going to give 95% of the wealth to the top 1%. Yes, we're going to gut civil liberties. Yes, we're going to spend all this money in military. Yes, you have nowhere else to go. We're going to protect Wall Street when they fuck up and wreck the economy. You have nowhere else to go. That's the mantra. The woman is right. She lost her voice. She lost her voice. When the Democratic Party decided wholesale that they were going to move to the pockets of the wealthy, they lost a voice. Thom Hartman knows this. Thom Hartman probably could explain this better than I could. That's not what Thom Hartman is doing right now. Thom Hartman is doing himself a disservice. Let's take a listen.
You know, Bernie Sanders has told people to go out even though they don't have any experience because they will get it when they go into office. So you can argue both ways.
Not for President of the United States. And Bernie right now is the ranking member of the Senate Committee on the Budget. He is on the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. He's a member of the Subcommittee on Energy, the Subcommittee on National Parks, the Subcommittee on Water and Power, the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works, Clean Air and Nuclear Safety, Fisheries, Waters and Wildlife, Subcommittee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor and Pensions, the Primary Health and Retirement Service, Security. He's a member of the Subcommittee on Children and Families, and he's the ranking member of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. This is a guy who has worked his life, worked his butt off throughout his life to actually get things done. Jill Stein pops up every 4 years to be the star of the show, and that's it. She, she has no political experience and doesn't have any interest in it.
Is meritocracy the way you want to do things, which is not?
She has no political experience and no interest in it. How does he know what she has an interest in? How does he know? I wasn't aware Thom Hartman was also a psychic. Clearly she has an interest in politics, otherwise she wouldn't run. And if you're trying to make this case that she's just kind of, you know, a showboat or something, I think she's trying to build a party. That's what I think. I fundamentally think she's trying to build a party. And I think she's using the presidency as a lightning rod for that. By the same token, she is still a serious candidate. And people are voting for her because they want their policies in a particular way. Now, I would make the case that you have Green Party members, and Green Party is a real party all across the world. So it's not like she's unreal. It is a real thing. She's taken the task of trying to build that party in the United States. It's not an easy thing building a third party in the United States. So I don't necessarily know if that's a reason to undercut her in this way, but let's keep going. He's being snarky and snarling at this point, so let's keep going.
No, what I want to do is I want to elect politicians who will do things. You know, if you think that voting for Jill Stein, which will get you Donald Trump, is an okay thing, again, I would say it's you know, check your white privilege, please. There are, you know, what are you going to say to the millions of immigrants that he rounds up and puts in camps?
Check your white privilege. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because the only reason somebody would ever do such a thing, like vote for Jill Stein, or not vote for one of the two candidates who are propped up, the only reason people would do that is because you're white and you have the space to do that. That's the only reason. I'm black. I voted for Jill Stein. I voted for Jill Stein. Sorry, Tom. I understand that that's the talking point that Democrats put out. Oh, this is just white privilege. This is just white privilege. Look, he's a Democratic functionary. I wouldn't be surprised if Thom Hartman got talking notes during the campaign. I wouldn't be surprised in the least. These are talking points. These are things that these guys put out. Bernie Sanders is the white candidate. Voting for Jill Stein is white privilege. And by the way, the first one hurt him, by the way, because it alienated whites who already were suspicious of Democrats and said to themselves, these people are not for me. You created an identity issue in American politics where you had whites alienated on one side with blacks. Yes, that schism was always there, but Democrats exacerbate that particular schism because identity is the thing that they so intently focus on. They focus on economics. And the problem is, in this argument, Thom Hartman completely misses this woman's point. Completely misses her point. You guys don't listen. You guys are doing policies that are not in our aims and not in our interests. And you put up this prop of least worst. And you consistently use this prop of least worst. And Thom Hartman has made one shitty argument after the next, finally getting down to brass tacks of least worst. Denigrating Jill Stein in the process. This is ugly, Tom. This is really ugly. Let's keep going. This is beneath Thom Hartman. I got to be honest. I'm shocked by this. Let's keep going.
We're going to vote for Jill Stein.
Well, just because other people are stupid doesn't mean you should be.
Well, that you could say the same thing for people voting for whoever, Tom.
Yeah, I shouldn't say stupid.
You can,
I'm sorry.
Voice things every which way. But the thing is, as I said, when there are those of us who have nothing left, this is our one way of protesting. Because as I said, when you go into the streets and they don't pay attention, what do you feel like doing? You feel like protesting.
Jill Stein has refused to release her tax returns. I just see her as a bottom feeder. She's out there. The clip I saw over the weekend when she was speaking at the Green Party convention was,
he just called Jill Stein a bottom feeder. Oh man, this is ugly, man. This is ugly. Like, I know when it gets towards elections, people start saying all sorts of out there stuff as they try to fight for their candidate. I get it. I get it. I get it. But this is ugly. Come on. You're trying to build a party. You have a two-party system. And somebody's telling you, look, we don't like the way this party system goes, and this game is rigged. This game is rigged. And she's like, when they don't listen to protests, they don't listen to anything else, what are you supposed to do? In her case, she said, you vote. And you vote against the people who are there. If that means that Donald Trump fails. And look, she understands something that's a little bit more fundamentally basic. Let's look at this first for a little bit longer. But Hillary Clinton doesn't own the presidency, clearly. Donald Trump doesn't own the presidency. The Republican Party does not own the presidency. None of them do. Like, that's this conceptual thing that we've created in our country. Arguing that it's horrible, arguing that Jill Stein is a bottom feeder, fundamentally misses what it means to be in a representative government. Those people are voting for their interests. Jill Stein, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, all those people have equal right to the presidency, which is zero. Donald Trump, in this case, won the presidency. Sad day for fucking Thom Hartman. Your candidate failed. Your candidate failed on multiple levels. And you are here browbeating somebody on the phone for making a case to you and nailing down something that you fundamentally miss. What is the Democratic Party supposed to represent? And your argument here is least worse. She's saying, look, they're not listening to us. I am not voting for the person who's not listening to me. I am voting for somebody who, A, is listening to me, and B, will make some level of a statement. And Thom Hartman is, you're stupid for doing that. You're stupid for doing that. Fall in line and vote for the regular shit you've always been getting has never gotten you anything else. Continue to do the same thing that you've always done, knowing full well that you're not going to get anything different. Thom Hartman is stuck in a system of lunacy. And he's falling in line with that system of lunacy because he himself is just a Democrat. This is the chip that was put in his head at the point at which it was clear that Hillary Clinton was a person who was going to exceed the primaries. Didn't matter how. Didn't matter how. This is the software now. Let's take a look in the shameful past. Let's keep going.
You know, we're continuing the Bernie revolution. BS. Jill Stein is about as far from the Bernie revolution as you can get. She is a political opportunist. Period. Full stop. I narrated the debate between her and Gary Johnson. Larry King and I did this 4 years ago. Her positions, the list of positions that she goes through are brilliant, but she is a vanity candidate. She is a vanity candidate.
Tom, I've heard you say many times that most people that enter politics are narcissistic and sociopaths. So what does that leave us with? You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't ask for Mr. Smith goes to Washington but say, oh, yeah, he wouldn't get anything done. So, and most people have advisors. Nobody can know everything at all.
Cora, Jill is not even on the ballot in a third of the states in this country. She's a vanity candidate. She's doing it to just, I mean, you know, it's like, hey, let's get some money from the rubes.
Well, gee, you know, how many other people are in politics that do the same thing?
Well,
you know, the wild part about this is they said the same thing about Sanders, by the way. When Sanders got into the race, why is this guy in the race? Why is this guy in the race? Why is he making it difficult for Hillary Clinton? There were parts where they said this guy was sexist because he was in a race against Hillary Clinton. Everybody knows she's inevitable. Everyone knows she's inevitable. I'm not saying that Jill Stein has the same gravitas as a Bernie Sanders. I'm not even saying her chances were anywhere near that she had the chance, same as Bernie Sanders. I'm not even saying that her chances were good for winning or that she even had decent chances for winning. What I am saying is in a representative government, you have a political apparatus. And part of that apparatus is people, third parties, can run in your political system. Neither of the two parties own the framework of the government itself. Think of the government as a bus, and every so often people win in regards to the voting booths and that person drives the bus. It's our representative government. The Democratic Party doesn't own the bus. The Republican Party does not own the bus, even though it may contribute drivers to that bus. Jill Stein has just as much right to put her hat in the ring for that bus Yes, she does. So arguing with her supporters to try to get them to support a Democrat, calling it stupid is insane to me. She has just as much right to run as anybody else. Calling a woman a bottom feeder and anything else is somewhat disgusting. Let's keep going. Yeah, Thom looks bad in this. Let's keep going.
But they actually get elected. She's not going to get elected to anything. She's only been elected to anything once in her whole life, and that was the city council in Lily-White, Lexington, Mass, where she did nothing. I mean, this is...
So how are you going to expect to ask people to step up to the plate that have never done anything before? It's like asking people to apply for a job, but do you have to have experience?
No, it's not like asking somebody to apply for a job. It's like voting for a candidate. And you've got a choice right now. You can choose for, you can vote for Hillary Clinton and you know, hope that, and I think in all probability have some assurance that... You don't even want me to finish the sentence, huh, Cora?
The hope that was the best part. That's the honest part. Vote for Hillary Clinton and hope that. Hope that. That's the honest Thom Hartman breaking through. Hope. You better hope after you vote for her. Why do I have to hope for anything, Thom? Why do I have to hope for anything? Let's keep going. And this Lily White thing is disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. Stop using... I understand that this idea of I want to ensure that the rights of people are enshrined and that we don't necessarily look at people based on this idea of culture, creed, race, that we don't look down on people in this particular way. And you should fight ferociously to make sure that your government and that the people of your society are fair and equal to one another. Criminal justice and everything else, fair and equal. You're not looking at me as a criminal because my race is a particular thing. You're looking at me as a human being. Fair and equal. But that's different than what the Democratic Party does. That's all I'm saying. There's a difference in those things. You can be strong in this idea of I want to make sure that people are treated equally and that for the most part we have a certain balance in the way we do things in our society. That's one thing. It's another thing to hug that, to squeeze that so hard, just squeeze it because it's the only thing that you have. And you completely ignore issues of economics out of political convenience because it adversely affects the people who are giving you cash. That snarling millionaire who screamed at Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi because they bought up class, that guy's a problem for you. That guy's problematic. The guy alienates the other people in the base. So you shut up about that guy. And like that guy said, you shut the hell up about class. I'm saying that's a problem. I'm saying that's a problem. Class should be the thing that you're talking about, but you're squeezing identity because you don't want to alienate the people who are giving you profits. It's one thing to protect identity. It's another thing to use it as a political tool of sorts. You're using it as a political tool. That's my point. Let's keep going.
Well, I'm sorry. I really do love you, Thom. I really do. But, you know, a lot of us are so frustrated, and we feel like we're not being listened to and that we're just being told to shut up and vote for Hillary.
Yeah. Well, I'm frustrated, too. I would have much rather seen Bernie as the candidate. I think he would have been a stronger candidate against Donald Trump. I've said it a million times. But what we have right now as the Democratic nominee is Hillary Clinton, and she ain't half bad. And you know, there are a number of areas.
I love that. Let's put that on a bumper sticker. She ain't half bad. She ain't half bad. That's what Thom Hartman's going for. He's doing all of this browbeating this woman in this way. She ain't half bad. We've got Hillary Clinton, and you better hope. I mean, yeah, he's right. You better hope. That's essentially what he was going with, and she ain't half bad. Let's keep going.
Is where I disagree with her and where I disagree with President Obama for that matter. But the areas where I agree with her are huge compared to the areas where I disagree, number one. And number two, A Trump presidency, let's round up the immigrants. Let's throw the Muslims out. Let's force women using the power of government to continue their pregnancies, even if they have deformed babies. Let's privatize Social Security and turn it over to Wall Street. Let's go with the Pete Peterson solution. Let's
Wait. I'm sure Thom Hartman certainly knows that Bill Clinton had worked a deal out with Newt Gingrich in order to privatize Social Security. Certainly Thom Hartman knows that. There were people in the Hillary camp itself that were on board with this idea of privatizing Social Security. So let's not be too hard on that one, Tom. Let's keep going.
Voucherize Medicare and turn everything over to the banksters. Let's privatize our public roads. Let's, I mean, it just goes on and on. If you look at the Trump-Pence platform, it is the most god-awful thing. And it completely contradicts the few things that Donald Trump says that actually are getting him votes, like he's going to take on NAFTA and CAFTA and TPP and all this, when his running mate is the biggest proponent of this stuff, and the Republican platform clearly calls for more of the same. I can't afford... Actually, I can. As a wealthy white guy, I can afford to have a crazy guy in the White House, assuming he doesn't blow us up, who puts crazy people on the Supreme Court, who roll back the rights of women, who roll back the rights of people of color, who make it harder for young people, elderly people to vote. I can afford all that, right? Louise and I, we could go buy a cabin in the woods in Vermont and never pay attention to politics again. But people of color in this country can't afford it. Young people in this country with $1 trillion worth of student debt can't afford it. Older people in this country who depend on Social Security can't afford it. Immigrants and families who have immigrants in them, like my family, can't afford it. And it's just, it is a white privilege luxury that I'm not going to take, Cora. If you choose to...
I understand what you're saying, but, I heard...
I don't like racial politics. I don't. I can't stand racial politics. I think it's divisive. It's extremely divisive. I make an assumption that people are just people. That people are just beings. If I met an alien tomorrow, I would make the assumption that that is just a being. He has perceptual capabilities just like I have perceptual capabilities. I don't necessarily know what those are, but I'm assuming that they're there. Well, as a human being, I assume that other human beings are the same. Now, yes, there may be differences in culture and everything else, denoted by race, the way they speak, the way they walk, all those things. Fair enough. Fair enough. In the world that we live in, for whatever reason, we put a huge amount of emphasis on this. Now, I can never know what the culture of somebody who's Asian or Hispanic or white or anything else. I will always be outside those things. Even if I lived in that particular society, at the end of the day, I still would not necessarily understand what it's like to be encased in that particular body, in that particular society, in that particular culture. There's no way. I don't need to. I don't even particularly care. It doesn't cross my mind one iota at any point along the day. Okay, that's a lie. I place myself in other people's position because I try to understand what it's like. But the fact that I'm trying to place myself in a position means I'm always on the outside of it. I say that to say that using this divvies people up. It just divvies people up. Now, this is not because I'm blind to racial politics. There are things in regards to race that should be talked about in politics. I mean, you had a country that started on a genocide and then turned around and put another race into slavery. And it completely ignores it. It completely pretends as if it didn't exist. So there are elements of a racial politics that I am perfectly okay with having a conversation about. But that's not what the ends that Thom Hartman is using. That's not the ends that the Democratic Party is using. They're using racial politics purely as a club. Now, yes, Donald Trump is fucking terrifying because we have a racist in the White House. I don't take that lightly in the least. But the arguments that these guys are making, meaning what the Democratic Party has dredged up as a club in this case, is amplifying what was there for Trump and solidifying around What argument can we use that completely absolves us of having to deal with actual issues of class? Hey, the capitalistic model is perfectly okay with this idea of identity. So yeah, let's bring in multiculturalism. We're just going to hug multiculturalism and identity. That's all we're going to do. That's what we're going to hug. That's the club we're going to use for Donald Trump. Again, genius move considering that the majority of the country is white. Even during the civil rights movement, most whites didn't think anything was wrong in the sense of civil rights. So this idea that you're using this argument now, I'm making this case to say, yes, whites are going to look at this. And they don't think that there's an issue here the way that Democrats are trying to move the country to think that there's an issue here. And between the two, they're going to look at it and say, my economic interest is more important than the stuff that the Democratic Party is trying to sell. And ultimately, we don't trust them in the first place. So there's a problem. There's a problem. This argument that Thom Hartman makes is problematic on multiple levels. And I don't necessarily like the way that they're using this thing of race. Talk to me about race from the standpoint of economics. That's where I want you to talk to me about race about. Not this abstract identity stuff. Brass tacks. What are you saying? What does it mean from the standpoint of race in regards to economics? What I do know is there was a massive transfer of wealth out the pockets of African Americans during the Obama administration. That's what I know. I know that 95% of the wealth went to the top 1%. Now, I understand you're okay with me as an identity. Fair enough. That's good. I like that. Is it possible you can do that and deal with the issue of economics? Does it have to be one or the other? And I would argue any issue of race that you're having a conversation about has to involve economics. Those things are not separate and distinct from one another. I don't like the way Thom Hartman is using this. And I didn't like the way the Democratic Party was using this. I don't like this thing of calling everybody sexist just because they don't necessarily want to vote for Hillary Clinton. Nor do I like this thing of calling everybody racist because they vote for Donald Trump. I don't like these political clubs. Let's keep going. This is almost done.
Thomas Frank the other day, and he says when we're voting for Hillary, he says she's probably going to get it. We're postponing this fight, and then another 4 to 8 years from now, we'll be still having a Bernie candidate or a Trump candidate.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. And during those 4 years, if you have Hillary Clinton in office, you will at the very least get rational candidates for the Supreme Court, people who she's said that her litmus test is going to be whether they're going to strike down Citizens United. Donald Trump has said his litmus test is going to be whether they're going to vote to force women to maintain their pregnancies no matter what. That's the difference. And you have a choice. And you can choose not to participate by voting for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. And I honor that choice, Cora. If you want to do that, I can't stop you. I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm just saying this is how I'm viewing this. This is how I'm thinking about it. I may be wrong. You might be entirely right.
No, I hear you, Tom, and God bless you. I love you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Cora. Thank you.
I like Tom too. He's getting massively frustrated. He's a Democratic functionary. He's a soldier who's told to go out there and sell Hillary Clinton. Sell it. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it. Like your life was at your life was at stake. And maybe with Donald Trump in office and being Donald Trump, you probably thought he was a fucking maniac. Maybe he did think his life was at stake. And I'm saying in political sense. Look, what I would say is that woman was trying to make a point to Thom Hartman that Thom Hartman didn't want to hear. Hillary Clinton chose Tim Kaine after nearly losing to a socialist in the primaries. There is nothing more tone deaf and out of sync than doing something like that. That's fucking amazing. Obama was out there talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership at the exact same time Hillary Clinton was trying to distance herself from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Again, this is massively tone deaf. And it shows a party that did not give two shits about the electorate. And that ultimately, what they ended up selling was trying to browbeat people like this woman into voting for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that wasn't enough. You lost. You guys failed massively. You didn't just fail massively at the presidential level. You failed massively throughout the entire United States, losing over 1,000 seats throughout the United States. That's failure on a massive fucking level. And as inevitable, you can call it inevitable, that once you fail on a massive fucking level in that way, I don't understand why you believe that the presidency was going to somehow be different. That woman made a damn good point. she had no idea what your party represents. And at the very least, it did not represent her. Your argument boiled down to least worse. Least worse. She's telling you, this party doesn't represent my interests. You guys aren't listening to what we want. You guys are on something on your own. And Thom Hartman is, you have nowhere else to go. She's the least worse. You just have to vote for her and hope. Vote for her and hope. The woman was saying that wasn't enough. And at some point, you need to hold the line. Something needs to fundamentally change. And if the vehicle for that change is the Democratic Party, and that the only tension that seems to be able to be applied to that party is when they fail, then they need to fail. The talk that's going on right now, this debate, this argument, this civil war, if you want to call it, has everything to do with the failure of Hillary Clinton in that last election. If Hillary Clinton would have won, everybody would have went to sleep. They would have went to sleep. The Berniesters, if they want to call it that, might be there. The lefties may be there. But I guarantee you they wouldn't be listened to. The Clinton wing will be in effect. In the same way that people were screaming about the primaries being cheated, and the other wing, and the other people who were okay with that wing, close their eyes, close their ears, and say, we see nothing problem here. We don't see any issue here. You guys are bitching for no reason. You guys are just sore losers. You guys are just crying about spilled milk. Aren't you going to get over it? Why aren't you getting over it? I don't understand why you're not getting over usurping of a representative governmental process involved in representative government. I don't understand your issue. Doesn't matter what comes out in regards to reality. We don't understand your issue. We should just move on. So that conversation, Thom Hartman believes that some level of conversation was going to continue to take place in the same, even though after the cheater was exposed, they still continued in the way that they always continued. That's after losing. That's after losing. We're to expect some level of introspection if she would have won. That woman on the phone was perfectly right in what she was saying. Thom Hartman wasn't wrong in what he was saying in regards to how much of a threat and a failure Donald Trump is. He just wasn't evaluating, or his evaluation of the other side of that equation as, what do you fundamentally think to change, and how do you get change, and do you look at this from the context of just a mere 4 years? Immediate vision as opposed to this kind of larger perspective of things. That's what I'm getting at. I like Thom Hartman, man. Thom Hartman looked bad in it. Thom Hartman looked bad in it. All of us have our bad days. It's not me giving him a pass. It's just, yes, Thom Hartman looked bad. He did look bad. All right, let's see the thing. I don't know how many people. Oh wow! Holy shit! Yeah, I didn't realize this was gonna go this long. So let's hear some comments. Mercedes Callie, can't believe I wasted money on his book. Thom Hartman is a fucking bright guy. Like I don't want. Yes, he's a Democratic functionary, but yes. Look, there's some people you're gonna come across who are neutral until they get a charge, if that makes sense. Like, let's say Sanders win the primaries. Thom Hartman is Sanders' biggest ally. Hillary Clinton wins the primaries. Thom Hartman is Hillary Clinton's biggest ally. It's they're Democratic functionaries. Thom Hartman, the mind reader. Okay, I don't know what that. Oh, yeah, right, because I say he's a mind reader. Lisa Hauserman, Jamal, Tom has become a reactionary to the max, still hangs up on people, gets suspicious that people are Republican trolls or something. I'm not making this up. Are you shitting me? Oh, Tom, come back to the light, man. He is on his period. Yes, men can have periods too. Chat down, Mike. If you want to call period, freaked out about Hillary Clinton losing an election, yeah. Dale Chomsky, honestly, Tom's smug wrongness would actually make me support her even more. Yeah, he is being smug. Bob Ramirez, I don't agree with Stein voters, but not because of those reasons. I wanted Hillary stopped. Bob Ramirez, fair enough. It's not that I wanted to vote for John. I just didn't want her to win. Fair enough. Chicky Rogue, me too, Bob. Any way possible. Richard Russ. Tom must be mad that his financial collapse didn't happen like his book predicted. Yeah, he had a book called The Financial Collapse of, I forget which year. Yeah, yeah. The moment that you do a prediction where you're talking about like 2016 and it doesn't happen in 2016, it's like, fuck. But for Tom's, in Tom's interest, Donald Trump may bring that along. So he may be off by just a few years. Tomosi Young. I wanted Hillary stopped, and I definitely won't vote for Trump. I voted for Jill, and glad I did, and will do it again. God damn it, Tomosi Young. I agree with you. I did too. Hillary is to blame for Hillary. Distillig. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Yes, you're right. Let's see. Let's see, somebody else. James Wilkes. Wow, they debated. I missed that on TV. Yeah, that was on TV. The Rubes, indeed. Tom is wrong. Chittown Matt. Yeah, I think he is too. RT runs all third-party debates. The Rubes, indeed. At first, I thought maybe he was just super worried about Trump. Then I woke up more. He never points out sins of Democrats. He's a Democratic functionary, yes. He's a Democratic functionary. Rachel Maddow, a Democratic functionary. Same thing. Same thing. Thom Hartman, I think, is brighter. But I don't know that to be true. Thom Hartman. I've seen a more expansive knowledge of stuff with Thom Hartman in regards to his breadth, his historical breadth. But that doesn't mean he's not a Democratic functionary. He is. He is. He's terrified of Trump, and in being terrified of Trump, he believes that the way of attacking Trump is dealing with the Democrats. So he functions from the perspective of a Democrat. Meaning, no, you're not necessarily going to see him go after Democrats. He may gently go after them by bringing up financial stuff, but the class is never necessarily associated with class Democrats. It's, here's some interesting talk about class. It's, if that makes sense. One is adversarial. One is pointing out that both of these parlors are beholden to the same thing. But to be fair to Tom, I haven't seen Thom Hartman in a while, so I need to be fair to him. I used to watch a show a while ago. We don't have RT set up on our TVs. Gardner, we must be careful and vet all potential candidates and initiatives. There will be plenty of people exploiting the desire for a third party in the years to come. Gardner, that's true. That's very true. Jamal, call into a show. I tried. Amen. I tried. I tried multiple times. Kevin, yeah, I think for Tom, he has an I'm with her tattoo to cover where the chip went in. That's funny. Kevin, that's funny. I missed most of this. He called her a bottom feeder. Yes, he called Jill Stein a bottom feeder. Jill Stein is suspect, but Democrats and Republicans are known. Rich Russ agreed. Agreed. Tomosi Young, don't bother calling in Thom Hartman or Sham Siller. Oh, jeez. You did it on purpose. Tomosi Young, don't bother calling in Thom Hartman's or Sham Schiller show. They'll talk over callers. I tried to call into Thom Hartman's show multiple times because I used to listen to, while I'm at work, I would listen to documentaries or I would listen to stuff like this. And yeah, Tom, I was impressed with Tom's breadth of knowledge. Then elections. It's like you get like 3 or 4 years where you get, this is Thom Hartman talking about just Thom Hartman stuff, and Thom Hartman is fucking fascinating in regards to his knowledge. And then the elections come up, and Thom Hartman chooses a side, and it's like, oh, that's shameful. Oh, that's shameful. Shameful, Tom. Shame on Tom. Yeah. I tried. I would have talked to Thom Hartman though, because I like Thom Hartman. Like, even with this, this is a blemish, yes, but I like Thom Hartman. Put it this way, I think with Thom Hartman, you can make a case. You could say something. Thom Hartman might start talking over you, but you can make this point that, please, Tom, could you allow me to make my peace? I think he would let you make his peace. Even in this thing, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. He still is just like, this conscious about him at that point. So, yeah. Also, Tom clearly has these hang-ups about race. Now, I think some of this is white guilt. So, fair enough. There's this liberal thing. But that's still awkward. Whether Tom believes it or not, that's still awkward. Like, you have this thing of, how can I say this? It's like you have one side that pretends that history didn't exist, that there's some break in history, that the things that took place to make this country are somehow separate and distinct from who they are as people. No such thing exists. That's not true at all. But they would say that. They would pretend as if that was back then. You people should get over it. And the condition of your demographic in no way is related to what took place to get that demographic here in the first place. That's maddeningly insane. That's almost like history doesn't exist. It's fucking insane. Now, as African American, you're dealing with that. It's like, you people are nuts. You people are nuts. You just don't want to own up to what took place to get you to this point. Then you have the Thom Hartmans, this weird opposite, where it's this guilt associated with it. And whether or not a guilt is supposed to be associated with it or not, I don't know. I don't want guilt. I don't want pretending this shit doesn't exist. I just want honesty. Just be honest. Yes, this was our past. This was the things that we were able to, take due to this past, due to the sordid, disgusting, degrading past. Yes, you can say there were advancements and all this other stuff, but ultimately you need to acknowledge what took place. Pretending it doesn't exist is maddening, but also going along with this perspective of guilt is also maddening. It's also maddening. Just acknowledge and be real and own up to the things that took place. And when I mean own up, yes, to some degree I even mean own up with. See, the thing is, I've always made this argument that reparations is not something that would be politically feasible. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't, I guess, do that in different ways. But you wouldn't be able to do it from an individual race standpoint, because most of this country is, well, you have a large percentage of this country that would never go for such a thing. But I would say in services for everybody else in the country, yeah, you can pull it off from that standpoint. That's besides the point. I guess I'm making this point that either Thom Hartman is using this argument of Lily White from a political standpoint, meaning he's using it purely as a Democrat. And so he's found a club. This is a club I'm going to hit them over the head with. Or they do believe this to some degree. Like that this is something that's in them to some degree. Oh, this Lily White thing. Like, we need to hug darkies in this way. But that's not really hugging darkies in a particular way. That's functioning from a level of guilt. If that makes sense. And maybe I'm off on this. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. It's one thing to have, I don't know if there's a balanced perspective in a way of dealing with it. It's like the moment that there's a disruption in how people interact with one another. It seems like that disruption persists itself, where it kind of floats back and forth in some esoteric medium. I don't know what that is, and maybe this is my own perception of events, but it's like being either too much in the camp of, oh my God, we fucked up, we're so sorry for what we've done, or too much in the camp of, let's just pretend the shit didn't exist and move forward. And I don't know if there's a middle ground in a camp of just treat me like a human being. It's like maybe just as a human being, those things are always kind of in flux. I don't know. And that's too far into the weeds. Let's see. Brian Tan. If the left creates a third party, then the Republican and the right will reign forever. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's true at all. Like right now you have the Republican and the right reigning forever. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party reigning forever with anything ever challenging the reign that they've created. They've created a scheme of sorts. It's almost like collusion. Hey, we're going to be batshit crazy. We're going to be less batshit crazy. And ultimately the person who dominates this process are the plutocrats because they rule in both parties. And we can just have it the way it is because you can always blackmail the population by saying you have nowhere else to go and these maniacs are going to take office. You have a rigged system. You have a rigged system. Leaving that system is the only way to make the point that this is a rigged system. We don't want to have anything to do with this. Now, if the Democratic Party wants to get votes and it wants to exist as a party, they should represent the interests of the people who put them in that office. Meaning it's not enough to say that these guys are maniacs. You need to actually represent something. Creating a third party holds that other party accountable. If it means that that party loses, then that party loses. It's not that I think it's a great fucking thing. It's a door I think we need to walk through in order to get the shit right. You need to rebalance those scales. And rebalancing those scales, you need to institute process that prevents stuff like this rigging of the system from taking place. It's not enough to just put a politician in office. You need to smash and change the entirety of the system. If that means then what do the parties need to crash and burn for something else to be sprung up that actually represents the interests of the public? It's almost like a rebuff of what's taking place as the ruling order. Then that's what needs to take place. That's not necessarily a beautiful process, and it's not that I love it. It's just, I think it's necessary. I don't know another solution. So, let's keep going. And man, Sam Cedar, he hates my Jimmy boy. Oh yeah, he hates Jimmy Dore. Yeah, Eminem, he hates Jimmy Dore. Chris Cross, love your show. How's that? Oh, thanks, Chris Cross. I appreciate it. Tabitha Enriquez, in the United States, let's see. Sam Cedar is a failed actor and comic. Oh, that's brutal. You're being brutal to him. Justin B, a vote for Jill Stein in the Green Party was a vote for progressive agenda. Agreed. Those of you that voted out of fear are keeping the progressive revolution from moving forward. Justin B, absolutely agree. George Papak, blame Russia. It's all Russia's fault. God damn it, fucking Russia and Putin. JJ Wolf, Tom isn't a progressive. He is the problem advocating and voting for the lesser of two evils. I disagree with you on that, believe it or not, JJ Wolf. He is a progressive. He is a lefty. Thom Hartman is just, we need to give him a different name because he is. It depends on the operating system. Like it depends on the chip that you put in Thom Hartman. If Bernie Sanders wins, Thom Hartman is a raging socialist. If Hillary Clinton wins, Thom Hartman is a, well, we just gotta hope for the best. That's Thom Hartman. He's not, that's what I mean, he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. Thom Hartman, that's just how he comes across. Whoever wins, I'm on their side. I'm not going to attack either one. I'm not going to espouse a strong belief in one way or the other. I'm just going to be bland and neutral. Just put the chip in, and I'll go that way. He may hate this characterization of him, fair enough. But in this election, I'm not going to attack Bernie. I'm not going to attack Clinton. I wanted Bernie to win. I think he would be a strong candidate, but we got Hillary. We just need to hope for the best. It's his chip. That's all I'm saying. It's his chip. He has a latitude of going to the left that I think you would find perfectly okay and perfectly consistent. Is he willing to go to the lesser evil? Yes, he was. Yes, he was, big time. He was terrified of the other. Rich Russ, 69 people may be aware. I don't know what that means. Todd Clark. Was Ralph Nader a bottom feeder, Tom? Fucking A, Ralph. Fucking A, Ralph. Yes, Tom. Yes. Fucking A. Tucking A, Todd Clark. Fucking A. I love that one. That's a punch in the balls. I love that one. Mark P. Trump gave the United States a year's break from the neoliberal vice and a warning siren that something was going very wrong. Mark P., you are absolutely right. How do you send a message? You know how you send a message? Leaving the European Union. How do you send a message to the United States? Putting in Donald fucking Trump. Yes, you were sent a message. You were sent a message. You got far too cozy with the way things were, and you rigged a system, and the people revolted against the system that you rigged. Yes, Mark P., you're absolutely right. You're perfectly right. Most tears. Jill Stein is suspect when Sam Cedar asked her how to plan to build the party after the election. She had no answer. No, she didn't have an answer. She might not have had an answer. Didn't necessarily mean she wouldn't have had the resources to do it. You're president of the United States, and you're trying to figure out, all right, I'm in this office. How do I build a nationwide party? Are you telling me she couldn't figure out with the resources of the office? I think she could have figured it out. She could have figured it out. Chris Cross, Jamal, you are who the people who listen to HA should be digging. Oh, I see. Maybe. A lot of those guys are Trump supporters, and they would hate me ragging on Donald Trump. She ain't half bad. Oh my God, she's horrible. I'm rolling. Let's see. Tom Kimball. Yeah, she ain't half bad. What she is, 98% run to the call. Tom Timball. Let's see. Who else? Jimmy Dore says there is a Labor Party forming. That's for me. I heard that. Jin Ho Choi, Tom is stuck in the Democratic Party worldview. It's all right. United States healthcare is already privatized. Yeah. He's like, they're going to privatize this, they're going to privatize that. All of the shit is already privatized. Like, even under the Democratic Party, like I said, Hillary Clinton, or her husband, Bill Clinton, had worked out a deal with Newt Gingrich to privatize Social Security. If the Democratic Party is not willing to defend Social Security, then there does not need to be a Democratic Party. You're no longer the Democratic Party at that point. You have been infiltrated and cannibalized from the inside. And the form that you've taken, you may be a Democrat in name, but oh my God, in no way do you represent the interests of what that party is supposed to be. Bernie Sanders forcibly tried to re-ensoul the Democratic Party, and you cheated that guy. You cheated that guy. Thom Hartman may have been for Bernie Sanders at one point, but like I said, Thom Hartman runs off the chip that they put into his head. If that software is Bernie Sanders, Thom Hartman is a socialist. If that software is Hillary Clinton, he's arguing and belittling himself, shaming himself for that cause. Thom Hartman is an immensely bright man, and it is sad day that he would do this. That he would behave in this way. Yeah. Luca Clemente, that bastard, sent me this video. And man, same progressive has gone solid on YouTube. Uh-oh, I need to check on her. D. Scully, leftists believe that people are more alike than unalike, but it's also our greatest flaw. Right-wingers object to egalitarianism. Yeah, they can object to it all they want. I just care about the mass. I want the majority. I want to make that argument to the majority. I would argue that they're a minority of the population. If you create a situation where you start to win, and consistently win, meaning you do something, you do it right, and the population is on your side for it. The problem with Obamacare is that it still had rates that were massively high. You ask the question of who does the Democratic Party represent, and if the best that they can do is Obamacare, then that party has failed miserably and completely missed the point. The goal of healthcare was supposed to be healthcare, not market-driven solution to healthcare. The point of healthcare was healthcare. What you put in place, if you're going to marshal the political will to do something like that, you should have did it right. You should have did Medicare for all. At the very least, a public option. Part of the problem that they have now in healthcare is that the insurance companies have them by the balls. They have them by the short and curlies. If Trump is going to go through with this plan of gutting the payments to these insurance companies, those insurance companies are either going to cut those plans, drop that coverage, or they're going to get rid of those people from the plans themselves, meaning fold, go out of business, or raise the rates on everybody else in the plan, creating this thing between the people who are paying money for rates versus the people who are not. Public option would have eliminated all of that. It would have eliminated all of that. You created your own problems by being half-assed and needing markets into the process. So yeah. Look, how many right-wingers do you think would get rid of Medicare or Social Security? That answer is, believe it or not, they're on board for those policies, those plans. They're on board for those plans. They may think of the world in these reactionary terms of everybody's out to get us, I need a gun and everything else. The society to some degree feeds that. Yeah, your society needs to change if you want to stop those people from being that reactionary. Yes, those people are going to be reactionary because I think to some degree they're that way. There's this aspect of them that's that way. But how reactionary is going to be within the latitude of your society. If you had a society that wasn't batshit crazy in this way, those people would be less reactionary. That's my own, ideology at work, so fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Lou Levitt, Republicans all suck. I do not like their ideology, no. But there used to be Eisenhower Republicans. The problem is that the political space has moved so far to the right because Democrats have become so lazy and feckless that the debate that you're having for the most part are with rabid Republicans as opposed to the Eisenhower types that actually were somewhat sane. Yes, we're going to build the railroads. Yes, we're going to pay back the national debt. Yes, we're going to, etc. The guys are Republican. had income rates like at 90%. Electoral college prevents California from always picking the president. Yes, it does. Agreed. Agreed. Clinton lost because Democrats voted for Trump as well. Jeremy Chase. Yes, agreed. You had a lot of union people voting for Trump. Tabitha Enriquez. Brian Tan, the Democrats did that. They lost 1,000 legislative seats all on their own. Immensely true. A third party on the left will actually be progressive, which is what we need. Agreed. Demexit. Agreed. Let's see. I thought I saw not a putty cat. It was okay, maybe I didn't. Dominic Buscemi. The fact that we don't have such a logical healthcare solution as single payer, which the majority of the people support, is a testament to the power of the insurance lobbies. Yeah, it's a testament to the insurance lobbies and a testament to how corrupt the process is. You have the majority of the people who want X, and the Democratic Party, using purely ideology, supplies Z. Skip Y, they supply Z. The Republicans come out with Z1, which is worse than Z, and the public looks at both of these plans and say, okay, we need single payer. These people are fucking around. We need single payer. Yeah. Garnome. Anna has lost her mind. She's rational maybe 25% of the time. Oh, wow. That's funny. That is hilarious. Alright, yeah, I'm not saying that, Bob. It's brutal. Brian Tan. Justin B's state and local elections are completed differently from federal. Jabari was in heavy left-sided district, completely different than trying to win an entire state or country. Justin B. If you're not familiar with the election, New York City City Council, Brian, you should look it up. Vote splitting is a lie to keep us out of power. George Pagog. After net neutrality is gone, you buy an internet package all nice and sterile for only $19.99 per month. Yeah, they're gonna fuck us royally. No gasoline, no Vaseline at all. Garnome. I disagree with H.A. a lot, but he has no qualms about constantly trying to gut TYT. Bobby Ramirez said H.A. is a little bit like a person made from boiled hot dogs, but none of us is perfect. No, none of us is perfect, but I love how you give him a pass on him attacking Jordan because you're just like Jordan. Or dislike TYT. He's losing his mind. He's been doing like show after show after show, going after Jordan on this. And then saying I'm not biased in the process of going after Jordan. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing. Alright. I am going to end this. This is going over an hour. I did want to talk about Thom on this. And yes, Luca, I did cover the video. I used to do this all the time. I used to cover videos. I would not look at the video initially and just run it and do a live commentary as I watched the video. Those tend to go long because I hadn't watched it beforehand. I have no way to make myself more concise in the moment of trying to do the dialogue. But I enjoy doing those shows, and people used to enjoy me doing those. So here's another one. So I will end it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, share, like, subscribe, and of course you can always support through Patreon. Thanks guys.